I always thought that as long as I stayed quiet enough, fate wouldn't find me. I was wrong. On the night I saved Alpha King Kale Draven, the fate of the entire werewolf kingdom was altered. And from that moment on, my identity became a secret that everyone wanted to uncover. My name is Alara Vane. 7 years ago, I was still the only princess of the kingdom of Moon Shadow. 7 years ago, I had my own crown, subjects, and family. 7 years ago, my father was still the king revered by all werewolves. Until that night, the rebels opened the gates of the royal city, and the Silver Blade Knights entered the palace. They say my father betrayed the Werewolf Alliance. They said the Moon Shadow royal family must be wiped out. But I know it was a carefully planned murder. My father discovered a secret about someone trying to take control of the entire world. Wolf Kingdom. So he had to die. At the very last moment, my mother hid me in a secret chamber beneath the palace. She held my hand, and blood stained the hem of her skirt. Alara. Remember, don't trust the vows made before the crown. A true king would never let innocent people sacrifice themselves for him. Those were the last words she left me. Since then, I have renounced my own name. I am no longer the Moon Shadow Princess. I'm just a nameless maid at Ravenhold Fortress. No one knows that the last of the Moon Shadow bloodline flows through my veins. No one knows that my blood can awaken the ancient power of the Moon Wolf. And no one knows. Once my identity is revealed, the entire werewolf continent will be plunged into war once again. Because a lot of people want me dead. That winter, war came to the north. Ravenhold Fortress is the most fortified wolf clan castle in the north and the seat of Alpha King Kale Draven. Everyone says he is the youngest and most powerful Alpha King in werewolf history. He is cold-hearted, ruthless, never trust anyone. Some say his heart is colder than the ice and snow of the north. Even his enemies admit it. As long as Kale Draven is alive, no army can conquer his territory. But that day, he nearly died on the battlefield. All maids, return to the castle. The knight's roar echoed through the hallway. The Southern Frontier Army has launched a surprise attack. The Silver Blade Knight has appeared. The moment I heard that name, my body froze. Silver Blade Knight. 7 years ago. They were the ones who destroyed my family. I should be afraid. I should hide. But the howling of wolves coming from outside the castle made my heart clench painfully. That wasn't the sound of an ordinary werewolf. It was an alpha wolf on the brink of death. My blood is responding. It's calling me. No. I whispered to myself. You can't go over there. I've been in hiding for 7 years. You shouldn't reveal everything just because of a stranger. I heard a man's weak voice. Retreat. Protect my soldiers. I froze. That man was clearly about to die. But he didn't call for help. His first words were to tell others to stay alive. My feet moved uncontrollably toward the forest. With every step I take, I remind myself. Stop. Leave. Don't pay any attention to that stranger. I've already lost my home. I can't risk revealing my last secret just because of some stranger who happens to be a werewolf. Yet that faint sound of breathing was like some invisible pull, piercing through the cold night. What's even stranger is, my blood is responding. For the first time. That power which had lain dormant for 7 years awakened uncontrollably. It's as if my wolf spirit is telling me. Go find him. He can't die. I gritted my teeth. This must be madness. I whispered. I don't even know who he is. But my body made the choice before my mind could. I part. The brambles covering the entrance to the forest and, treading through the thick snow, walked step by step into the darkness. The wind blew across my face. The sounds of battle could be heard in the distance. And in this forgotten forest, all that remained was the faint heartbeat of a dying man. Here, one more time. It's as if someone is waiting for someone to arrive. Until I made my way through the last patch of woods. I saw him. In the middle of the snow. A man was lying there. The moment I first saw him, I forgot to breathe. He wasn't like an ordinary soldier. Even though he had lost consciousness, he still exuded a terrifying aura of power. His black battle armor was already shattered. and his shoulders and chest were covered in scars. Fresh blood stained the white snow beneath him, yet he still clutched the long sword in his hand, like a wounded beast. Even as death approaches, no one is allowed to come near. I slowly approached. A strong smell of blood filled the air. There was also a strange yet heart-stopping aura. It has the aura of a powerful alpha. My wolf spirit was instantly on high alert. Danger. This man is very dangerous. I crouched down to check on his injuries. Just as my hand neared his chest, his eyes suddenly flew open. They were a pair of deep, golden eyes. Cold, sharp, with the aura of a king. Even when facing death, his first instinct was still to attack. His hand instantly gripped my wrist. "Who sent you?" His voice was hoarse, yet full of authority. I froze. This man is on his deathbed. And yet he's still suspecting others. "If I were here to kill you." I looked at him. "You don't have a chance to ask me that now." There was a slight change in his expression. He didn't seem to expect that a woman dressed as a maid would dare to answer him like that. The next second, his body suddenly went limp. He fell backward into the snow, and I finally got a clear look at the wound on his chest. A wound caused by a silver blade. My expression changed. Silver, the werewolf's deadliest weapon. An ordinary werewolf wounded by a silver blade cannot recover at all. But his life is slipping away bit by bit. "Damn it," I whispered. "I shouldn't have saved him. I can't save him." But when I saw that even while unconscious, he was still clutching that sword meant to protect soldiers, I thought of my father, that king who also chose to protect his subjects, only to be betrayed in the end. Maybe this man is dangerous. Perhaps he will become my enemy in the future. But now, he's just a man who's about to die. And I couldn't just stand by and watch him die here. I reached out my hand. "Take off the gloves you've been hiding," revealing the silver mark on the palm of his hand, the mark of the Moon Shadow royal family. "This is a secret I haven't let anyone see in 7 years. If I save you, I'll lose everything." I looked at him. "Then let's blame it on fate." The next second, I placed my hand on his wound. The Moon Shadow bloodline awoke fully for the first time in the dead of night. A silvery glow illuminated the snowy ground. And in the distance, a pair of eyes hid an eye. And the shadows was staring intently at me. That person murmured softly, "Princess Moon Shadow, you're finally here." I thought that as long as I left that forest, I could go back to my old life. To be a nameless maid. Be a person without a past. But fate will never allow a hidden princess to remain in the shadows forever. Especially when the person I saved is the most revered alpha king in the entire werewolf kingdom. After that night, Ravenhold Fortress descended into complete chaos. Before dawn had fully broken, the castle bells began to ring. It wasn't an enemy attack. It was Wang Gui. All the knights charged toward the city gate. All the nobles hurried to the hall. I stood at the back of the crowd, watching the blood-stained black war chariots slowly enter the castle. My heart sank little by little, because I know that man survived. It also means my secret is one step closer to being exposed. "Elara," the maid standing beside me called out to me in a low voice. "What's wrong, Wit?" "Hu." I immediately looked away. "Nothing," but my fingers were trembling slightly from nervousness. The process of saving him left no obvious traces. At least, I didn't think so. But I forgot one thing. Werewolves have senses far superior to those of humans. Especially alpha. They remember the smell. Remember the sound. I even remember the scent of the soul. The royal court hall. All the nobles knelt on either side. I stood at the maid's post. My head bowed. I told myself, don't look at him. Don't let him find out. But when the heavy footsteps drew nearer, my body still froze involuntarily. That familiar scent appeared once again. Powerful, cold, with an overwhelming sense of oppression that is impossible to ignore. Kale Draven walked into the hall. He had already taken off the battered armor he'd worn on the battlefield. The black royal robe draped over him. A golden wolf pattern is embroidered on the shoulder. He doesn't look like someone who's just come back from the brink of death. More like a king who has returned from hell. Everyone looked down. Only I know. Just a few hours ago, the man was still lying in the snow, struggling to breathe. Your Majesty, the chief knight knelt. It is thanks to the moon goddess's protection that you have returned safely. Kale didn't respond. His gaze swept across the hall, as if he were looking for something. My heart was beating faster and faster, until his gaze came to rest, park in my direction. At that moment, I felt like I was being targeted by a wild animal. His wolf spirit growled softly within him. Found it. I could almost hear that voice. My breathing faltered for a moment. No. He recognized him. You. Kale spoke up. The Enti. Hall fell silent in an instant. Everyone's eyes turned to me. I bowed my head in a gesture of respect. Your Majesty. His voice was deep. Come closer. My fingertips are cold. Your Majesty. I am merely a castle maid. I know. He replied. That's why I let you get close. I walked over step by step. Every step feels like a step toward danger. When I stopped in front of him, he looked down at me. Last night. It was you. It's not a question. That's right. I remained silent. Your Majesty has mistaken me for someone else. Someone in the hall chuckled softly. A nobleman said, how could a mere maid possibly save the Alpha King? She isn't even qualified to be anywhere near the battlefield. Those voices cut through the air like knives. But Kale didn't look away. Everyone, get out, he said. The nobles were taken aback. Your Majesty, I said. Get out. There was no roar. There is no threat. But everyone immediately looked down and walked away. There were only the two of us left in the lobby. I finally looked up. Why didn't Your Majesty call me out? Kale looked at me. Because I don't know who you are yet. My heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? He took a step closer. The scent of an alpha instantly enveloped me. An ordinary maid wouldn't have the ability to heal wounds caused by silver. My expression changed. Just as I thought. He found out. Who are you, anyway? His voice was very soft. But every single word put me on guard. I took a step back. Someone who saved you. Kale was silent. Then ask. Why? What? Why did you save me? That question left me speechless. I didn't expect him to ask that. Everyone took it for granted that Wang would save people. But what he asked was, why would a woman of low social standing risk her life to save someone who might bring disaster upon her? I replied in a low voice. Because you're about to die. Kale frowned. Is that all there is to it? It's that simple. I looked at him. If a person isn't worth saving simply because of who they are, then this world should have been destroyed long ago. At that moment, for the first time, the look in his eyes changed. Very brief. But I saw it. This cold-hearted Alpha King. He seemed to be moved by what I said. A few days later, Wang Ting announced something that shocked the entire North. Alpha King is set to marry an unidentified handmaiden. Of course, no one knows the real reason. That's all they know. Kale Draven rejected all politically arranged marriages proposed by the nobility. Reject the Duke of the Southern Frontier's daughter. Reject the noble Omega with a lineage dating back hundreds of years. He chose only me. The news spread throughout the entire werewolf kingdom. Everyone thought I had used some kind of trick to deceive the king. And I know that. The reality is even more dangerous. Because of that night, Kale came to my room himself. Place a contract on the table. Sign it. I looked at the parchment scroll. What is this? Marriage contract. My heart sank. Why? He didn't answer right away. A long time later, he said, my wolf spirit has chosen you. My breath caught in my throat. Mate. When that word came out of his mouth, my body had a strong reaction. But I know, this isn't just a simple love story. If I were to become his wife, I will stand before all the nobles. Sooner or later, my past will be discovered. As soon as the news that Princess Moon's shadow was still alive spread, the entire werewolf kingdom will be thrown into turmoil. I looked at the contract. The contract has yet to be signed. Kale looked at me. Are you scared? I replied softly. Yes. He didn't seem to expect me to admit it. What are you afraid of? I looked at him. I almost said it. I'm afraid you'll find out who I am. I'm afraid you know that I'm the princess who was cast out of your kingdom. I'm afraid fate will turn us into enemies. But in the end, I was just saying. I'm afraid of marrying someone who doesn't know me. Kale was silent for a long time. Then he said, well, then, we don't know each other. That works out perfectly. This is a fair deal. I looked at him. A deal. Give me the title of queen. I'll keep you safe. My heart wavered slightly. Because he was right. I need safety. I need strength. I need to get close to the royal court to investigate the truth behind my parents' deaths all those years ago. More importantly, my wolf spirit tells me so. This man, maybe he isn't my enemy. I picked up the quill pen. Sign your name on the contract. Elara. No last name. Kale looked at my name. His gaze was deep. Starting today, you're my contract wife. I looked up at him. And just then, the sound of hurried footsteps came from outside the door. A knight burst into the room. Pale-faced. Your Majesty. Something's wrong. Kale frowned. What's up? The knight looked at me. His voice trembled. We've uncovered her past. She's no ordinary maid. She is. The knight paused. The entire room fell silent. Then he said the name I was most afraid to hear. The last princess of the Kingdom of Moonlight. My blood ran cold. And the way Ka-El looked at me. For the first time. He couldn't hide his shock. The last princess of the Kingdom of Moonlight. The moment those words were spoken, the room fell into an eerie silence. I can even hear my own heartbeat. Here, one more time. It's as if it's reminding me. After 7 years of running away from it, my past has finally caught up with me. Kale didn't say anything. His gaze lingered on me. Those golden eyes that had once put me at ease now held a hint of scrutiny I couldn't hide. I know what he's thinking. He was suspicious. He suspects my motives for approaching him. I wonder if the night I saved him was actually an elaborate conspiracy. After all, a princess who had been missing for years suddenly appeared at his castle, and he just happened to save him. Any ruler would be suspicious. I slowly set down the quill pen I was holding. Your Majesty. My voice is very soft. I can explain. Kale raised his hand. Stopped me. That move is very simple, but it made my heart sink. Because I saw it. His guard. Get out, he said to the knight. The knight bowed his head and left. The door closed. There were only the two of us left in the room. Back then, whenever he came close to me, I felt a powerful attraction. And now, what I feel is distance. Like an invisible wall. Standing between us. What's your name? Kale asked. I froze. His Majesty knows my name. I'm asking for your full name. My fingers slowly tightened. Elara. He looked at me. Wait. I didn't answer. And so he spoke the name that had been buried for 7 years. Vane. My breath caught in my throat. You're a member of the Moon Shadow royal family. It's not a question. That's correct. I was silent for a long time. Finally, he said softly. Yes. The moment that word left my mouth, it was as if I could hear the past coming back to life. Those flames. Those bodies. Those of our clan who fell inside the palace. It all came flooding back to me. Kale looked at me. Why did you lie to me? I looked up. Because if I told you, would you let me live? He didn't answer. This silence is more cruel than any answer. I smiled. Look, even you aren't sure. Kale furrowed his brow. Do you think I want to kill you? I don't know. I looked at him. But across the entire land of the werewolves, it is widely believed that the Moon Shadow royal family should be wiped out. How many people in your royal court were involved in what happened back then? That question made his eyes grow cold. You suspect me. Should I trust you? For the first time, my voice carried a note of anger. My family died overnight. My country has been destroyed. Everyone told me they were doing it for the future of the Werewolf Alliance. But my father protected his subjects until the day he died. Tell me, Kale Draven, if one day you discover that the person who destroyed my family is standing right there in your royal court, what would you do? He didn't answer. Because of this issue, he couldn't answer easily. The next day, The entire royal court now knows my identity. The news spread like the wind on a winter night. Princess Moon's shadow is still alive. That royal bloodline, which was once thought to have died out. I'm back. For the first time, the nobles openly opposed Kale. At the royal council meeting, the Duke of the Southern Frontier stood up. Your Majesty. She cannot become queen. Kale sat on the throne. His expression was cold. Reason. Because of her lineage. The Duke said. The Moon Shadow royal family once nearly destroyed the Werewolf Alliance. I was standing in the middle of the hall. Listen to them repeat those lies all over again. My fingers are getting colder and colder. Her father betrayed the alliance. She inherited the blood of a traitor. If she becomes queen, all the old powers will resurface. Kale did not respond immediately, and that brief silence made my heart sink little by little, because I suddenly realized. Alpha King. He is not my protector. First and foremost. He is the ruler of the entire kingdom. If you choose the kingdom, he might sacrifice me. Your Majesty, another nobleman said, to maintain stability within the alliance. You should cancel this contract, and marry a noblewoman who can truly provide support. Political marriage. I knew this would happen a long time ago. I just didn't expect it. It will come that soon. Kale slowly stood up. The entire hall fell silent. His gaze swept over everyone. Finally, it settled on me. The contract has been formed. It won't change. The nobles were stunned. Your Majesty. His voice instantly drowned out all opposition. I said, it won't change. At that moment, it was the first time I saw a real Alpha King. Not that cold man, but rather a king who could bring peace to the entire royal court. But the next sentence made my heart sink. But, Kale looked at me, before publicly acknowledging her. I want to know if she's worthy of being queen. My body froze. I see. He was watching me. 2. That evening, I was assigned a room at the very top of the palace. This place once belonged to queens throughout the ages. But I know, I'm just a stranger staying here temporarily. There was a knock at the door. I thought she was a maid. After opening the door, but I saw K.L. standing there. He didn't bring anyone with him. Your Majesty. He walked into the room. He was holding an old silver ring in his hand. The moment I saw it, my expression changed. That is the royal crest of the Moon Shadow royal family. My mother used to wear it. This was found on you. Kale said. Why did you leave this behind when you fled? I didn't answer. Because I know. My mother left this here on purpose. She hoped someone would know. The Moon Shadow royal family still has descendants. Elara. Kale whispered my name. Tell me the truth. What exactly happened in the Kingdom of Moonlight back then? I looked at him. He was just about to speak. Suddenly, there was a loud bang outside the window. A black arrow pierced through the glass. It shot straight at me. Kale instantly stepped in front of me. The arrow grazed his shoulder. Fresh blood fell. And on the arrow, with a BLO. Odd-stained parchment scroll tied to it. Kale took it off. Once you open it, for the first time, his expression changed completely. Because there's only one sentence there. Alpha King. Your mate isn't your savior. She is the final key to the destruction of your kingdom. My heart sank suddenly. There are people who not only know who I am, and I also know that my bloodline has the power to destroy the kingdom of the werewolves. The words on that parchment felt like a cold knife piercing my chest. She is the final key to the destruction of your kingdom. As I looked at those words, my hands and feet gradually grew cold. Because I know, the person who wrote this wasn't threatening Kale. He was reminding everyone. The bloodline of the Moon Shadow royal family truly exists. And I am the very person they've been searching for 7 years. Who is it? Kale clutched the parchment tightly, his voice low and menacing. His wound was still bleeding, but it was as if he couldn't feel the pain. All of his attention was focused on me. Do you know what that means? I didn't answer. Because I knows better than anyone else. My very existence is a danger in itself. Tell me. He lowered his voice. What exactly is hidden within your bloodline? I looked at him. That Alpha King who once seemed so powerful to me that I couldn't even get close to him. Right now, he is standing in front of me, blood on his shoulder, a complex look in his eyes. He wasn't interrogating an enemy. He was waiting for an answer. But I can't say. At least not right now. Because if he were to say that, if he chooses to believe those nobles, then I'll be the one sacrificed all over again. I don't know, I replied softly. Kale's eyes darkened. You're lying to me. My heart skipped a beat. Why do you think I must know? Because of your wolf spirit. He looked at me. It's afraid of your past. I froze. Wolf spirit. The one thing werewolves can never hide from one another. It is more honest than language. My silence is the answer. Kale turned around and tossed the parchment into the brazier. The flaw. MES devoured the paper. But those words had already left a lasting impression on everyone. Starting today, he said, no one is allowed to come near you without my permission. I watched his back. Is this protection? He stopped. That's surveillance. 2. His confession took me by surprise. I didn't expect him to admit it. You suspect me? Yes. He didn't deny it. You are a princess who has been missing for many years. You possess powers that ordinary werewolves don't have. You came into my life. And it just so happened to save me. He turned around. If you were me, would you believe it? I remained silent. No. If I were him, I don't know how to either. But the very next second, he said, but if you're trying to hurt me, you had plenty of chances last night. My heart gave a slight flutter. Because this is the first time. He stood between doubt and trust. Did not fully side with either side. The next day, the royal court held an emergency meeting. All the nobles are demanding an investigation into my past. They want to know, why is Princess Moon's shadow still alive? I'd like to know more. Why was she with Alpha King? I was standing in the middle of the hall. I listened as my father's former courtiers discussed my life and death in unfamiliar voices. Her freedom must be restricted. Someone said, the Moon's shadow bloodline is too dangerous. If the legend is true, she might awaken an ancient power, even control the entire wolf clan. I clenched my fist. What these people fear has never been my power. What they're afraid of is, the Moon's shadow royal family has been given another chance to prove their innocence. Just then, Kale spoke up. That's enough. The lobby was quiet. She's my contract wife now. The nobles looked grim. Your Majesty. You must not let your feelings for mate cloud your judgment. Those words made the air freeze instantly. Everyone knows that. Alpha cannot resist mate's attraction. Some people also believe that mate bond causes the king to lose his mind. Kale's expression didn't change. Do you think I can't tell the difference between feelings and responsibility? The nobleman bowed his head. I wouldn't dare. Very good. Kale looked at everyone. Well, remember that. Until the truth is proven, she has my protection. I looked at him. For the first time, a strange feeling welled up inside me. That man clearly suspects me, yet it still stood in my way. He doesn't believe in my past. But rather, it's to protect who I am now. Evening. I stood alone in the garden. This was the first time I had left my room. I need to breathe. I need to remind myself. Don't let a man's protection make you lose sight of your goals. I want to find out the truth about my parents' deaths. I want to know who destroyed the kingdom of Moon's shadow. I knew you wouldn't be able to sleep. A voice came from behind him. I turned around. Kale was standing there. Moonlight fell on his dark hair. No crown. There were no guards. There was only one weary man. Can't your Majesty sleepy eye? There. I asked. He walked over to me. My wolf spirit is restless. I lowered my gaze. Because of me. Because of you. His answer was too direct. My heart skipped a beat for a moment. Your breath calms it, he said. But your secret has put it on guard. I looked at him. If one day you find out that I really would destroy your kingdom, are you going to kill me? Kale was silent. A long time later, he said, if you really become a threat, Alpha King, I will take responsibility. My heart sank little by little, just as I thought. First and foremost, he is a king. But the very next second, he added in a low voice. But before that, I'll find out the truth. I looked up. Look into his eyes. I'm not going to just believe it because someone told me you're dangerous. At that moment, for the first time, I wanted to trust this man. But just as the distance between us was gradually closing, the castle alarm suddenly went off. Rapid. Danger. A knight charged toward them. His face was deathly pale. Your Majesty. Former members of the Moon Shadow royal family have been spotted on the northern border. Kale frowned. What did they say? The knight looked at me. His voice trembled. They brought a letter. Please give this to Princess Moon Shadow. My breath caught in my throat. The knight presented the letter. I saw the emblem on the envelope. That was the royal seal my father once used. But when I opened the letter, there's only one sentence in it. Elara, if you want to know who betrayed your father all those years ago, come see me. And the signature. He is someone who should have died 10 years ago. My mother. I stared at the letter. It's been a long time since we last spoke. Because that name was like a forgotten wound that had been torn open once again. Mother. Everyone in this world tells me. She died. He died on the night the Moon Shadow Palace was destroyed. He died when the rebels stormed the palace. I saw her. Lying in a pool of blood with my own eyes. I saw with my own eyes how she used her last ounce of strength to protect me. So it's impossible. This letter can't possibly be real. But the royal seal on the letter is genuine. That was a crest known only to the innermost circle of the Moon Shah. Dao royal family. 3 silver moons circle a sleeping wolf. No forger can replicate it. My hands began to tremble. Kale noticed. Who is she? I didn't answer. His gaze fell on the letter. Then he looked at me again. Elara. His voice was deep. Tell me, who is this person? I closed my eyes. 7 years ago, I thought I had come to terms with the loss. But it wasn't until hope reappeared that I realized it. It turns out I never really let go. My mother. Kale was silent. He clearly hadn't expected that answer. Is your mother still alive? I shook my head. I don't know. That's a fact. I don't know. I don't know if she's really alive. I don't know if this is a trap. But in any case, I have to go. Because if that person really knew the truth, she might know who killed my father, who ruined my country, who made me a shadow that's always hiding. You can't go. Kale's voice rang out behind me. I turned around. Why? Because it's too obvious. He said. The enemy wants you to leave the castle. I looked at him. What if that person really does know the truth? What if she were your enemy? I remained silent. Kale walked over. His presence made me instinctively tense up. But this time, I didn't back down. You don't believe me. I said. You don't trust me. And you don't trust my past. But why are you stopping me from looking for my mother? There was a slight change in his expression. Because you're going to die. Just 3 simple words. But it left me speechless. I looked at him. Are you worried about me? He didn't answer. But his wolf spirit had already answered for him. That alpha power began to stir around him. He doesn't like it when I take risks. It was even harder to accept than his own injury. I looked away. Your Majesty. I have to go. This is my destiny. Kale looked at me. A long time. He said. Then I'll go with you. I froze. Alpha King. Your kingdom needs you. My kingdom needs me to stay alive. His answer left me speechless. Then he continued. And my wolf spirit tells me, if you leave my sight, you'll be in danger. I asked in a low voice. Do you trust your wolf spirit? Or do you trust me? Kale looked at me. For a moment. A complex expression flashed across those golden eyes. Now, he said. I want to believe you. The next day, Ravenhold Fortress. There was no public ceremony. There were no royal guards. Only a handful of his most trusted knights accompanied him. Kale deliberately concealed his identity. He said, if the enemy knew that Alpha King was with us, they wouldn't show up. I looked at him. Do you often take risks like this? Those who protect the kingdom must know when they cannot sit on the throne. That remark reminded me of my father. My father once said something similar. A true king does not sit in the highest seat. Instead, He stood in front of everyone. That was the first time I realized it. Perhaps Kale and my father have certain things in common. 3 days later, we arrived at the old realm of Moon Shadow. It has been reduced to ruins. The home that once belonged to me. All that remains now are the crumbling city walls. I stood there. I can't move my feet. Kale didn't rush him. Just quietly staying by my side. Do you hate it here? He asked. I shook my head. I just want to know. Why? Why can some people destroy a country? Kale looked at the ruins. He said in a low voice. Sometimes, war isn't fought to win, but rather to cover up certain truths. I turned to look at him. That statement doesn't sound like a casual guess. It's more like an experience. What do you know? Kale was silent. When my father died, he said, I've lost a lot. Too. My heart gave a slight flutter. This was the first time he had brought up the past on his own. It turns out that this cold-hearted Alpha King was once a child who had lost his family. Night. We set up camp near the abandoned old castle. I kept watch alone. Suddenly, footsteps would be heard in the darkness. I immediately drew my dagger. Come out. No response. The next second, a dark figure lunged toward me. It was moving so fast that it didn't seem like an ordinary werewolf. I swung my sword to block the blow. Two forces collided. The man took a step back. The moonlight illuminated his face. I froze. You. It was a face I knew all too well. 7 years ago. I thought he had died in the fire at the palace. My older brother. The eldest prince of the Kingdom of Moonlight. Lycan Vane. He looked at me. A complex look in his eyes. Elara. You're finally back. My hand dropped. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Are you still alive? Lycan didn't answer. His gaze passed right past me. It landed on Kale, who was far away. The next second, his expression turned cold. How did you end up with him? I frowned. He saved me. Lycan gave a cold laugh. Save you? Did you know? It was his family that brought about the downfall of our kingdom. My body froze. Kale, who was far away, heard it too. His expression changed instantly, because Lycan revealed a secret that had been hidden for many years. That was the year the Kingdom of Moon Shadow fell. The one who truly opened the city gates. It's the Draven royal family. The air froze solid. I looked at Kale. The first time. I don't know who to believe. The House of Draven. When Lycan said that name, I felt as if the whole world had fallen silent. I looked at Kale. That man I once thought was different from the other members of the royal family. The man who protects soldiers on the battlefield. The man who chose to stand by me even after I revealed my true identity. But right now, that was the first time I had my doubts. Has he been lying to me all along? Kale didn't explain. His silence stung more than any answer could have. Speak. My voice is very soft. Neck. This was the first time I had called him by his first name. His eyes flickered slightly, because he could tell. My doubts. Tell me, is what Lycan said true? The night breeze blew through the ruins. The flames in the fire flickered. All the knights fell silent. They waited for their king to answer. Kale looked at me. A long time later, he said, my father once fought in that war. My heart sank little by little. So it's true. No. His reply came quickly. But it's not entirely false either. I froze. What do you mean? Kale took a step forward. My father did. In fact, send troops to the Kingdom of Moon Shadow back then. But he isn't here to destroy you. He did it to stop a much bigger conspiracy. Lycan gave a cold laugh. Here we go again with that excuse. He stepped out of the shadows. He didn't put down the sword in his hand. Every victor likes to find excuses for his crimes. Your Draven family stole the Moon Shadow crown. Then tell everyone that this is for the sake of peace. Kale's gaze turned cold. Do you know the truth? Lycan didn't answer. That brief pause made me sense that something was off. If he has all the evidence, why not just say it right away? Why just anger? Instead of exposing it, my intuition tells me, there are still hidden secrets here. That night, I didn't sleep. I was sitting on the ruins of the city wall, looking at the land that once belonged to me. The words of those two people kept echoing in my mind. One of them is my long-lost older brother, he said. The Draven family destroyed the kingdom of Moon Shadow. Another one is Alpha King, he said. Things weren't quite what I had imagined. I don't know who to believe. But the most painful thing is, I found myself starting to hope that Kale hadn't lied to me. This discovery scared me. Because of a princess who had been on the run for 7 years. You shouldn't trust an Alpha King. You certainly shouldn't become dependent on him. You're scared. A voice came from behind him. I didn't look back. Since when did your majesty take a liking to eavesdropping on other people's thoughts? Kale was standing behind me. No crown. No guards. Just a tired man. That's not what you're thinking, he said. It's your scent. I froze. Werewolves cannot hide their emotions. Especially in front of his mate. Your wolf spirit is in agony, he said. I looked down. My wolf SP. Irit tells me I shouldn't trust you. Kale was silent. Then he said. But my wolf spirit tells me I shouldn't lose you. My heart skipped a beat. I hate this feeling. Just one thing someone I dislike says can affect my mood. Neck. I looked at him. If it turns out in the end that your family was the one who ruined everything for me, what would you do? He didn't hesitate. I will make the truth known to the public. Even if it means losing your throne. Yes. His answer left me speechless. Why? Kale gazed into the distance. His voice was deep. Because a crown built on lies isn't worth defending. At that moment, I thought of my father. Same thing. He once said. The next day, we are preparing to leave the Moon Shadow ruins. But Lucien suddenly disappeared. All that was left in his room was a letter. The letter was addressed to me. Elara, if you're reading this letter, it means I haven't been able to stop them. Don't trust Kale. And don't trust any Draven either. When the kingdom of Moon Shadow fell all those years ago, it wasn't just the Draven royal family who were involved. There's also a family hidden within the Werewolf Alliance. They are the real masterminds behind it all. I held the letter in my hand. He furrowed his brow. Because it's the end of the letter. It has a name written on it. At the mention of that name, Kale's expression changed instantly. Vareth. Kale murmured. My heart sank. Do you know him? He didn't answer. Because of that name. One of the oldest noble families in the Werewolf Alliance. It is also the family within the royal court that is currently most supportive of Kale entering into a political marriage. Why would they destroy my country? I asked. Kale looked at me. Because of your blood. I froze. My blood, he said slowly. The Moon Shadow royal family is no ordinary royal family. Your ancestors possessed a power that could awaken the spirits of ancient wolves. And the Vareth family wants it. My fingers are cold. I see. The people who are after me have never done so because of the past. But it's because F the future. My existence. It is a force beyond their control. Just then. Suddenly. The howls of a pack of wolves rang out from the distance. Not just any pack of wolves. It was an enemy attack. Countless dark figures emerged from the ruins. Kale instantly stepped in front of me. His wolf spirit was fully unleashed. His golden eyes turned into beast-like vertical pupils. Stay behind me, he said. But the very next second, the enemy leader removed his hood. When I got a clear look at that face, I froze in my tracks. Because of that person. It was actually the one who had personally announced the downfall of the Moon Shadow royal family 7 years ago. My uncle. He looked at me, smiled. I finally found you, my little princess. My uncle, Aldrich Vane. The person who stood on the highest platform of the Moon Shadow royal palace 7 years ago and announced the downfall of the Moon Shadow royal family. The man everyone thought had died in the war. Right now. He was actually standing right in front of me. In the flesh. I gripped the dagger tightly in my hand. Her fingertips had turned white from the strain. You. I could barely get a word out. You're still alive. Aldrich smiled. That smile felt unfamiliar to me. It scares me, too. Of course. Why do I have to die? He walked toward him slowly. The one who really should disappear is never me. Kale was standing in front of me. His aura instantly took on a dangerous quality. like a wild beast ready to pounce at any moment. Step back, he whispered to me. I watched his back. This man clearly doesn't know the whole truth. But he still stood in my way. Kale. Aldrich looked at him. I never would have thought that. In the end, it would be the Draven royal family who protected Princess Moon's shadow. It seems history really does like to play tricks. Kale clenched his fist. What do you want? Aldrich smiled. What do I want? He looked at me. Her. The air froze in an instant. I see. They've been hunting me down for 7 years. It's not about revenge. It's not about rooting out the problem completely, but rather to obtain the power within my body. Did you know? Aldrich continued. The Moon Shadow royal family has always safeguarded the bloodline of the ancient moon wolves. That's not a blessing. It's a key. My heart sank. What key? He didn't answer. He just looked at Kale. You should tell her. Tell her what her true strength is. I turned to look at Kale. His expression took on a complex look. You know. Kale was silent. This silence chills me to the bone. You knew all along. I know part of it, he said, but I don't know everything. I smiled, but it was a bitter smile. So everyone knows my secret. I'm the only one who doesn't know what I am. Kale looked at me, for the first time. Pain appeared in his eyes. Elara. Don't call me by my name. I took a step back. I need to know the truth. Aldrich took advantage of a lapse in our guard and launched a sudden attack. Black werewolves charged in from all sides. They are not ordinary soldiers. They bear special runes on their bodies. A rune that suppresses the power of the wolf clan. Kale immediately transformed. A huge black wolf appeared in the middle of the ruins. At that moment, that was the first time I actually saw him in his wolf form. Powerful. Majesty. Just like the legendary war wolf. But the enemy was well prepared. A silver chain wrapped around his front leg. His power is limited. Kale. I rushed over. Don't come any closer. He growled. But I didn't stop. Because I saw it. Once again. This man chose to protect others. He could have easily broken free on his own. But he blocked the attack coming at me first. The silver blade sliced across his shoulder. Fresh blood fell. My heart gave a sharp twinge. At that moment, my wolf spirit has completely spiraled out of control. Moonlight streams down from the sky. My blood began to boil. Everyone stopped. Because they saw it. The silver glow in my eyes. The Moon Shadow bloodline has awakened. Aldrich said excitedly. Finally. You've finally broken the seal. I don't know what happened. That's all I know. A force is awakening within me. It was angry. Pain. Like a beast that has been sleeping for 100 years. But just as the power was about to spiral out of control, a voice drifted into my consciousness. It's no one else. It's Kale. Look at me. I froze. He was clearly being held captive by the enemy. Yet he still tried to comfort me. Elara. His voice was deep. Don't let them define you. You are not the force. You are not the crown. You're just you. Those words were like a ray of light. Through all my fears, my power gradually subsided. I finally understand. Why does my wolf spirit respond to him? Because what he saw was never Princess Yueying. It is not the bloodline that can change the course of war. It's me. That girl who has always been afraid of being alone. After the battle ended, Aldrich ran away. But he left one last message. Kale, do you really trust her? Do you know what will happen once the power within her is fully awakened? Kale didn't answer. Because he knew. There is no simple answer to this question. After returning to camp, Kale sat alone by the fire. I walked over. He didn't look up. You should hate me, he said. I stopped. Why? Because I kept your power a secret. I remained silent. Why didn't you tell me? He said in a low voice. Because I'm afraid. I froze. Alpha King. To think he actually said he was afraid. What are you afraid of? Kale looked at me. I'm afraid of what will happen once you realize you have the power to change the world. Will leave me. My heart gave a sharp jolt. But just as I was about to answer, the sound of rapid horse hooves could be heard in the distance. A knight stumbled into the camp. Your Majesty, Something's happened at the royal court. Kale stood up. What's going on? The knight turned pale. The Verith family staged a coup. They've taken control of the royal capital. And announced. The knight paused. Look at me. It has been announced that Princess Alara Vane, the Moon Shadow Princess, is the mastermind behind the assassination of the Alpha King. My face went pale in an instant. Kale clenched his fist. Because he finally understood. A real war. It's just the beginning. By the time they returned to Ravenhold Fortress, the royal city that had once belonged to Kale had been transformed into a prison for the enemy. The Black Wolf banner of the Draven royal family no longer flies on the city walls. Instead, it was the Verith family's silver banner with a snake pattern. That family crest. A symbol of conspiracy and betrayal. I stood in the distance, looking at the castle that had once protected me. For the first time, I felt a sense of strangeness in my heart. They moved too fast. Kale was standing next to me. His voice was cold. It was as cold as the sky just before a blizzard. They've been preparing for a long time. I looked at him. When did it start? Kale was silent. Perhaps since my father was still in power. I clenched my fist. So all of this is more complicated than we imagined. The kingdom of Moon Shadow fell. My family is dead. The Verith family controls the royal court. Nothing happens by chance. Rather, it was a chess game that lasted 10 years. We didn't attack right away. Because the current situation is even more dangerous than war. Verith has taken control of the royal capital. They took control of the nobility. They even took control of part of the military. And the most devastating thing is, they have a reason that makes all werewolves believe them. Me, Princess Moon Shadow. The woman they portrayed as a symbol of disaster. The announcement posted on the city walls has spread throughout the north. Alara Vane, a remnant of the Moon Shadow, used her forbidden bloodline to beguile the Alpha King in an attempt to seize the werewolf throne. When I saw that sentence, it was the first time I had ever felt truly angry. It's not because they slandered me. It was because they once again used the same method that had destroyed my family. 7 years ago. Create an enemy, then make everyone believe it. Killing this enemy is for the sake of peace. They're going to kill me. I whispered. Kale looked at me. No. They want to take advantage of you. I looked up. Why? He gripped the sword tightly in his hand. Because they're afraid of you. They know that if the Moon Shadow royal family clears its name, everything they've done in the past will be exposed. My gaze fell on the royal city in the distance. So what should we do? Kale looked at me. A long time later, he said, reclaim the throne. I froze. You mean? That's not my throne. He looked at me. That is where the truth belongs. That night, we sneaked into the royal city. It wasn't to launch a surprise attack, but rather to find evidence. Prove the truth behind the fall of the kingdom of Moon Shadow all those years ago. It also proves the conspiracy behind the Verith family. But once they entered the palace, I found this place to be even more terrifying than I had imagined. The hallway that once felt so familiar, now it is covered with unfamiliar flags. A family portrait that once belonged to me, all of them air destroyed. I stopped at the entrance to the old King's Hall. That was where my father used to conduct his official business. It was also the last place I saw him. Kale was standing behind me. There was no rush. You don't have to go in, he said. I shook my head. No, I have to. Face it. I pushed open the door. It was completely empty inside. But before the throne, there was a wooden box on the table. It was as if it were waiting for me to arrive. I walked over slowly, opened the box. Inside was a letter. And there's one more ring. The moment I saw the ring, I almost started crying. That was my father's royal ring. But the handwriting in the letter, not my father. It was my mother. Alara, if you're reading this letter, that means you already know who you are. My hands began to tremble. You have to know. The destruction of the Kingdom of Moonlight all those years ago was not caused by the Draven royal family. I looked at Kale. His expression changed. 2. The letter continued. The one who truly betrayed us was Verith. They want to seize the Moon Shadow bloodline. And they also want to control the entire werewolf alliance. But they failed. Because I sealed the final power inside your body. My breath caught in my throat. Mom knows. She had always known. Don't hate all royalty. Don't let hatred become your shackles. Remember. A true mate won. Take away your power. And I'll protect you so you can become your true self. I looked at the last sentence. Tears finally fell. Because I finally understand. My mother had known all along. My fate will be tied to an alpha. Just then. Applause could be heard from outside Director W. Aang's office. Slowly. Cold. Duke Verith walked in. He was followed by dozens of soldiers. That's so touching. He said. 10 years have passed. Princess Moon's shadow has finally found the answer. My body tensed up instantly. Kale stood in front of me. You lost. Verith smiled. No. I won. He looked at me. Because there's one thing you don't know. The true secret of the Moon Shadow bloodline. My expression changed. What do you mean? Verith slowly approached. Your mother sealed away that power not to protect you. It's because she knows. If your power were to fully awaken, the entire werewolf kingdom will bow down to you. The air froze in an instant. Kale frowned. You're lying. Verith smiled. Is it a lie? You'll find out soon enough. The next second, a loud wolf howl rang out from deep within the palace. Everyone's expression changed. That wasn't just any werewolf. That was the sound of an ancient wolf's spirit awakening. My body started to feel hot. My blood began to stir. Suddenly, Kale took my hand. For the first time, there was a note of fear in his voice. Elara, don't listen to him. I looked at him. What if what he said is true? Kale didn't let go. Then I'll stand by you through it. At that moment, I finally understand. Fate brought us together. It's not because I'm a princess. It's not because he's the Alpha King. But rather because it lies between two broken souls. There is a kind of power. We chose see each other. 1 year later, the Verith family's plot was exposed. The truth behind the fall of the kingdom of Moon's Shadow was revealed to the entire werewolf continent. Those who once believed the lies bow their heads before me. But I didn't become that princess bound by a crown again. I've chosen to become the new queen. It's not because of the contract. It's not because of politics. It's because I fell in love with the man who used to scare me. Kale Draven. That cold and powerful Alpha King. In front of everyone. He held my hand. Announcement. She's not my weakness. She is the strength I've chosen. And I know that. Our story has never been about a princess being rescued by the Wolf King. Rather, they were two people who had lost everything. In the end, they found their way back to each other.